welcome back to another episode of Road to William. Before we get started, I want to introduce my cousin from I Be Ballin' Basketball Show, Ashley. Ashley, tell the audience about your channel and how to support you.
Well, you can follow me on all platforms. Actually, I be balling. And my YouTube channel, I be balling basketball. It's all about the WNBA, the NBA, all the basketball news, the trades, the free agency, the drama. But I also do basketball movie reviews and sports movies and video games, NBA 2K, all
Mhm.
that good stuff.
Yes, go support Ashley from I Be Ballin' Basketball Show. Yes, today we're going to review a film that at the end we're gonna see if it's gonna fall in one of the classic bins of the den, the movie den. Are they worthy to step over? Waterboys, and it was directed, written, and produced by Cookie Daniels. And so I've never heard of Cookie Daniels before. This was a good film, but I did want to start off by talking a little bit about the film. There probably will be spoilers, but not enough to ruin it to know what it. You still have to go watch it and whatnot. So, um, Water Boys. First off, I'm shouting out Cuzzo, because you recommended this film. So I want you to go first and talk about this film and like how did you find it? Like what made you want to watch it before actually diving into the film?
Well, I heard about it, but I guess never got around to watching it. And I did like, I think I heard about it because, Quavo is in it and Lala is in it. Oh, and the main character that was played by Drew. Um, I recognized him from this own TV show, Oprah's channel. It's called David Makes Man. And I really liked his acting in it. And I was like, oh, he's more older in this one. Let me check it out.
Mm,
And so that's how I heard about it.
mm-hmm.
But I never really got around to it, didn't really know where to watch it. But it, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it kind of reminded me of like the Wood or like Boys in the Hood, where you have like a crew and you're seeing what crew do. Juice. I mean, it wasn't like those movies, but similar to like you have in your friends, what you're up to, that type of thing.
I agree. Um, it reminded me of also Boys in the Hood. I would add another one, ATL. It gave me
Oh yeah.
ATL vibes a little bit, especially that one scene from. I mean, that one scene where it was he Drew was sitting outside, and then the guy Charles, his mentor, pulls up on him to like give him some good news. It was toward the end of the film, and I like that shot because it was he was sitting on the stoop, still doing the water thing, um, but he was in front of this mural that had all the civil rights leaders, all the people who paved the way for Black people. So it was a dope shot because it kind of told a story. It kind of like told you mimic what the mural was saying, but in real time. Because a lot of times I've been, hearing people say like, "Why do people go back in time? What's the point of going back in history? Why aren't we celebrating the people now?" And at some point, you're gonna go back in history regardless of how you get there. And it's important to know those stories because um, they overcame things and they had way less resources than we did, way less outlets, way less freedom of speech, you know. And so when people say stuff like that, I think that's like disparity, you lost hope because you have to overcome something. Like it's life. That's what comes with life. And it's easier to do it with other people by your side. And so I like that Charles gave Drew another chance because it's pass it on kind of thing. So um yeah, I thought Boys in the Hood for sure. Uh and then ATL cuz I feel like ATL T.I. had to. I forgot his name in the movie. Yeah, 'cause it was Ant, and then it was I forgot his name. Rashad. So Rashad had to figure out at the end, like his dad always told him, one day you're gonna put these skates down and do something you really want to do. And I feel like the water was just like the skating rink, for them. And like instead of just drawing Drew in this film, he was a um, graphic designer, which you already know. That's what I love to do. Yeah, and it also speaks to like your calling, like Martin Luther King, he could have literally did anything else, but he got his degree and decided to still fight in the streets for change. And so, not that he put down the Bible, but like he, if I'm not mistaken, people was trying to get him to follow in his father's footsteps with the preaching and whatnot too. So I think him going into the civil rights thing, even though they didn't want to, that wasn't their plan. That was kind of his calling to life. So I think Drew, with the design, the leadership mindset, wanting to grow, willing to um, listen to other people, like when that couple approached them and was like, "Look, we can try and fight this a different way instead of in the streets." Um, and yeah, but I did have a question I want to start with. Now, what emotions poured out when you watched this film?
Hmm, what emotions? Well, I said, well, at least they're not, gang banging, selling dope, kind of like what Quavo's character was kind of doing. Little D, no, Little Zoo. That's funny, Little Zoo. But I thought they had different angles, Could you be like Quavo, like Little Zoo, that's all into the guns and selling dope, killing? Or do you want to be like Drew, who's like, hey, I'm selling water and I'm having my friends join me? But there was also another guy, his friend. One of his friends was like, he wanted more protection because he was like, I'm tired of running, you know? And they were getting into like arguments about if they have a gun or not. And, Drew was like, no, we're not doing that. And I thought, it was like a tangle, what do? Do you just run or do you try to get some protection? Um, so they put those two different angles on it. And then you have the worried mom, Lala, what's her name in there? Rose,
Rose.
you know, worrying about, the son out in the streets and is he gonna make it home safe?
Mm-hmm.
I did think to myself, I usually don't see like um I don't know how old they were in the movie, but I when I see like people selling water or something to drink, you know, it, I feel like it's more so little kids. I don't know if they were in high school, but I usually don't see like big kids doing it. It's more so the little kids, maybe elementary, middle schoolish. But it is hot, especially, and if you sell it for cheap, but I think the different emotions was like, oh, I hope nothing bad doesn't happen. But it was also like, what is there to do that's productive? Do you get a minimum wage job instead? Do you just focus on school? You know, do you they're not into sports. Some people do sports. It's like, what other outlets can they do? Why? And also, my thing is, why you messing with them? They're just trying to sell water, but they had all these challenges from, the little zoo and his crew, and then you got the police, and it's like, can't they just sell water? You know, leave them alone. you know.
But you gotta think about it too, like they're the opposing side. Like, what was his name in the film? Damani Harris.
Oh, that was funny that, I think I did hear that he was in it, and I saw him trying to be a little gangster. So that was kind of funny.
So June in the film, played by Damani Harris, he had a side we didn't see. Like we only saw the days in the life of Drew. We didn't see it for his friend Dolo. We didn't see it for their other friends as well. It was mainly just Drew. And you gotta think about it, like June's like getting fed up of seeing this competition in his face every single day. And they might not have the same support as Drew does, a caring mother like Drew does, a real true friendship bond like they have on the other side. He had two people who he might be friends with, he might not. Like he just really a leader and they just say go. Whereas, Drew and his friends, they all had a voice. Like, and it was a few that it's kind of split, divided a little bit, but everybody was their own individual. Whereas it's like you only know June and his crew. You know what I mean? So it's two different dynamics. They come the kids, Drew and them are coming from a side of like, look, we just trying to make it out, hustle, girl. And June could be on the other end too. We don't know what he's hustling for. We don't know why he's so mad, why he out in these streets. But I think he just kind of showed like in life, everything isn't always as sweet. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be people that hate on you for no reason, want to mess with you for no reason. Like, and this is also a coming of age story because I think they're like 16, 17. They're trying to think about life after school. What route do they want to go? Um, and so it's a coming of age story. So they're also juggling like how the real life is, real world without high school. You know, he's seeing his mom work and stressed, but he don't understand why she's coming home tired, exhausted, straight. He hasn't fully lived it, and he got a taste of it when he worked in that, was it a Walmart? He worked in that Walmart for a few days. And I liked how they showed that he, even though he didn't like that the pay was low, it's, not gonna get him where he really wants to go. I think it showed people or people, kids watching it, that it's okay to, for a little bit, rock out this gig, but always have a route to escape out of that. Don't stay in it, dwell in it. You always got to look somewhere to go. Now, Drew found that it was water. Doing this water was like the best way. Dolo felt like, nah, the streets might be the best way because we in the streets anyway. Um, And that kind of reminded me, their back and forth reminded me of like in Lottery Ticket when they was on that roof. Son um,
They
but
might make another one.
yeah, and but yeah, that was crazy. So what makes Waterboys stand out from the rest of the films that we mentioned? Like, what makes it an iconic film? Just like Boys in the Hood, The Wood, Juice. Do you think this even deserves to be in one of those classics in the
Wow,
future?
that's a toughie. Hmm.
Because we all saw Sinners, everybody's like classic, easy, next. Usually we wait 20 years to call something a classic, but do you think this could be added in one of those maybes?
Hmm. A classic? I don't know. Like, when you think of classics, you think of like decades later, it still slaps. It still, stands the test of time, like a music album that's classic, like Michael Jackson albums, those are like classic because, he's gone, but many decades later, his music lives on. Can this movie live on? Well, I think the message will, you know, still stand out. But in terms of like the overall movie, no, I don't think it's like a classic. But I think the message, what you can get out of the movie will, resonate with the audience, you know, give them strong emotions because, a lot of people can relate to trying to find a hustle, trying to find a way out. And then there's all these other dynamics and people standing in your way. What I think they should have did was, not just selling water, but they should have added some Kool-Aid in there. They should have added some lemonade in there. And they should have added those what's those? Like Slurpees. But there's like no ice cones, not the Slurpees, but the ice cones, because wasn't they buying ice anyway? And they got that little dye to make the ice cone. I just think, hey, you could have had some options. Hey, ice cold water, ice cold lemonade, ice cold Kool-Aid, hey, some ice cones. Because they had a plenty people in the crew. What's that? Two, three. So it was five of them. They could have did it, expand a little bit, add more money, add more bankrolls. But
Right.
I don't think overall it's a classic, but I think the message is very important. They showed how
Mm,
the streets are very dangerous. They talked about school and economics
mm,
and so yeah, they talked about the environment and how it's hard
right.
and loss,
I
consequences.
I will say this though. I'm gonna keep it a bean and I'm gonna keep it a mother chucking buck. But but let's keep it a buck. We've listed these as classic films thus far. Boys in the Hood, ATL, The Wood, Juice, and Lottery Ticket. As just a few classic films coming out. But let me tell you something that they all have in common. Waterboys stands out. Boys in the Hood. Trey kept what? Pressuring homegirl to have sex. She what? End up having sex. She said, "Don't get me pregnant." ATL. Rashad and New ended up getting in them sheets. The Wood, the name, The Wood, was a whole bet about three teens betting who could bang the chick first. Juice, homeboy, Makai, no, Omar Epps was basically groomed, but he was 17. Everybody was like, but he cute though. It's all right. She cute. It's all right. If she was ugly, it's wrong. No, he was being groomed by a 24-year-old lady. Lottery ticket. I don't know if they asked exactly in that way, but it's the only one. Maybe I'll let that one slide real quick. All the girls had pressure to get sex. It's all about sex, sex, sex. Get them sheets, money. Okay. Waterboyz did not have that. Okay. Rose said, keep that door open. Okay. You know what I'm saying? She was like, okay, yeah, come on, y'all, let's eat. She's checking in on her son. She was a boss. She came out there like the mom did on Illegal Tender. Y'all seen Illegal Tender? Say Illegal Tender in the comments. She came out, said, don't, get up out of here. Out of there. Up out of there. Ain't nothing but a gangsta party. Okay? Lil Zoo came in here. Lil who? Lil Zoo. And how old is he? Why are you just crashing a teen's party? Weirdo. Let's talk about that. Hey, what y'all got going on up there? You look 25. What are you talking about? And we're 16, 17. We can't even buy cigarettes. And you over here talk about what's good, y'all. Ain't it how to be? You ever seen a 60-year-old gangster? I have. It's goofy. But Lil Zoo, played by Quavo. This is my first time seeing Quavo really act. Did I see him in Atlanta with Migos? Yes, that's different. That was a cameo. He was really acting. I didn't see Praise with Chloe Bailey. I didn't see that. I actually got confused with the film because I was like, oh, when is she coming in? And then it was a church part. I was like, oh, she probably gonna be singing in the church. And then I was like, looked it up. I'm like, that's the wrong film. She's not in this film. I'm like, oh. But I think Quavo, what do you think? I think Quavo did a good job with the acting on this. Kind of. Certain parts was a little awkward. Okay, let's be honest.
Um, I
Let's
think
be honest. It
Quavo.
was a little awkward sometimes. But I think overall, because it was just a few parts where I was like, okay, that irritates me a little bit. I don't know. What do you think?
I think overall there are like a lot of rappers getting into acting. I've heard ASAP Rocky is good, but I think if Quavo keeps working at it, he's gonna be in more films. He was in Praise, but he was in Praise, but it wasn't like I think Waterboys is a bigger world. He didn't have like too many lines in Praise, but I thought it was actually a good, movie. And he also was in this animation movie called Sneaks, where but he wasn't in that a lot either. He came toward the end. He was a shoe that just stayed in the box. But I think, yeah, this is his biggest role. And I think if he continues to work at it, maybe, he'll get something from 50, 50 Cent,
Mm.
Joey Bad Butt, he's
Joey
acting.
Badass, Ashley. Come on. Come on now. Yeah. He dropped. I started listening to his album. It sounded pretty good. I know he coming for war though, so looking forward to that. Listening to that. There's a few albums that's dropped. Be looking forward real quick. Be dropping a segment where I'm promoting my playlist that I like listening to, and
Chance the Rapper.
I listened to that album. Go check that out. Who else? Tiana Taylor. Good. I'm working on it. Great. Actually, I hear a classic in one of them. The Poom Poom. I'm in my Poom Poom. With Jill Scott and Tyler. That's a classic. I heard it. I said, "Oh my god, she did it. She made a classic hit." It sounds like a Sade, like, but we wasn't old enough to experience Sade real time. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, you had mentioned that you would have liked to see, like, oh, they could have also created slushies and ice snow cones and all that. I had a question saying, what like other stories, real life stories, should we see next that we would like to see next as either a documentary or a film like Waterboyz? Is there any other um
Hmm.
I don't want to call them hustles, but like ways people I don't know, try and
I'm
make ends
sure.
meet to get to the next level in their life.
Well, they said there is a documentary about water boys because
Mhm.
it's based on like true events. I heard it's called Thirst Trap or something.
Okay.
So I found that out today. But I'm sure there's more stories we'll find out about later, kind of like the BMF, you know. Their
Yeah.
story came to life,
I'm waiting for that
so
documentary with the Terry one. I'm like, yo, I don't know when that's dropping, but I've seen the first documentary like 3 times.
are they still cool as brothers? Cause the way the season ended, it looked like they weren't cool.
They in the documentary it does tell you that they had a rift in their brotherhood at some point, just like all families do. So I just look at it and keep going. But
I think, maybe it can come from books or just word of mouth, more stories about different hustles. I
mm,
would like to see not just the drug hustle. Um, Also, I would
mm,
like black comedies as well, but that's another story. I think
mm,
there definitely has to be another way more than just drugs or
mm,
sports or music, you know?
yeah,
What other ways
sci-fi.
are there?
I
Huh?
started watching this one, but then I was like, oh,
Which one?
it was about to stress me out. The ah, you know who he is, but it's about like alien abduction, but they blame this one. It's a black kid, and they're blaming him for abduction or kidnapping or whatever. But it's not him. It's really like she really got abducted. So I didn't finish it because first 5 minutes of the movie, they arrest him. I'm like, okay, I'm stressed. I'm trying to find
Hmm.
movies that don't involve law enforcement
Well,
25/8. But
Madam C.J. Walker, they made.
that was a terrible film. They shouldn't have filmed that.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess,
That boxing part was ridiculous. I
I'm
remember when it
just
first
saying,
came out. I tried watching the Shirley Chisholm, and I'm like, I love Regina King, but this ain't it.
I don't think I
This ain't
seen
it.
that. I don't think I saw it. It kind of seemed kind of boring, so I didn't watch it.
But I like history movies, but I can still tell when a movie ain't it, and they shouldn't have did that one like that.
Maybe like find out different black inventors, cause a lot of black
Mm,
people have invented stuff.
mm,
But are we making movies about them? I don't know. We should
yeah.
make a movie about Garrett. What was his name? Garrett Morgan. I remember doing something about him in elementary. He like invented like the street lights and a gas mask and probably more stuff. But yeah, it's kind of hard. I feel like the more stories that we have is like music, drugs, sports. I wonder if like we should make a dance movie. but instead of like the dancer, it's like a choreographer. Like there's a lot of famous
Mm,
choreographers. I mean, I'm saying the word wrong, but who have made up the famous dance moves
right.
behind different artists.
Hmm.
But we shall see, what pops up.
So, what do you take away from this film? And would you recommend this film to anyone else other than me, knowing that I like movies?
I think we could recommend it to anyone, that's about that life, been in similar environments. I think the overall message is like which direction you're gonna go. But no matter what direction you choose, there's gonna be hard times, there's gonna be different obstacles in your way, different people, or different arrows coming at you. You gotta dodge them like the Matrix. Um, well, one of the themes was the whole gun violence. I wouldn't have brought the gun because sometimes people say get the gun because it'll scare people away. But I'm not for guns. I'm like, it's gonna create more chaos than resolution, you know, to me. I'm more of a mace, maybe a taser gun, you know, nothing that's gonna kill you. And then next thing you know, I'm in jail and I'm facing the judge and or I'm dead. So, 'cause sometimes you got the gun and then what if the opponent gets the gun? But I think
Yeah.
that happens a lot. But I think it's great. I feel like I feel like even adult could relate to Lala's character Rose, like a mother's
Yeah.
plea. But it's
Yeah.
also about, I feel like middle school, high school, college, and even people who are, in their 60s or 70s who grew up in the same time. What can
Hmm.
you do when the streets are calling your name? The
Hmm.
drugs,
Yeah.
you know, that lifestyle, you know.
Hmm.
You can't save everybody. That's another thing. He was rocking with his friends,
Mm,
but
that's a good point. Can't save
you know,
everybody. You don't want to be
it's
saved. Don't save them.
so I think this is a good movie to watch at least once.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely watch. You can watch this with your kids. You can watch this with your grandma, your auntie, uncle, sister, brother, family, friend. You could watch this summer. It gives like it's a summer movie kind of. You know, good music. I liked how Lala's character is from New York, just like she is, I believe. That's by mistake. But it also showed that because she said to him, she said to Drew, like, Rose said to Drew, like, oh, we moved out of New York to here to get you out of that environment. And it just goes to show it don't matter where you live, trouble is everywhere. Trouble in New York, in Georgia, California, any state, world, no matter where you go, it's always gonna be trouble. Um, but she raised him right, he's respectable gentleman, and um he wanted, his girlfriend to meet. And their relationship was cute because this is the thing. I've always noticed in film that especially coming of age stories, they're always feeling like when they're in love they have to have sex. And I'm like, that's not a good message to promote. If we're gonna talk about films impacting children, we're gonna talk about because people talking about a film that same-sex couples can't have kids. So we're gonna address a tiny bit of that right here. When I say when we're talking about if kids are watching these movies and they're getting influenced by what have you, the real conversation needs to be had about the real issue. The real issue is usually coming to age stories, especially like this one. This would have been an easy way for him to just have sex with her and be like done or get her pregnant and be we all like a walking statistic around this motherfucker. Cause it's not really about the sex part itself. It's about respecting that human being that you like a lot at the end of the day. Right? It's about that. And I feel like they focused more on them building a relationship versus like, oh, it's just about the sex. Hit it and quit it, hit it and quit it. Oh, that's what's problem with majority of y'all. But because even his friends around him was like, when you gonna tap that? You sure you don't want this one freak at the church? What? Like he was surrounded by that. That's why I said like Rose raised him right. Like she taught him about respect. It was that boys in the hood moment. Even in that house when he came home, he wanted to get the gun. He knew exactly where the gun was. They watch and see you. You wonder why your kid's a dickhead? Maybe he watched you be a dickhead. Now he a mini dickhead. Now he bigger and more dickheaded than you are. Look what you raised. But she was but she raised a kid who knew that what it meant to respect and love someone and care for someone. And it's not just about that. It's about, oh, she noticed that just like in ATL, Lala, I mean, oop, he, Lala, wait, what was her name of them? Nunu. Shit.
Ooh.
What is going on? Oh, hell no. But anyway, y'all know she liked that Rashad was into this drawing thing. Like, why don't you do that? Pushing him. And I like now it's more modern than that. It's like, I'll post you on my story. I'm like, she about to post you on her story and tag you in it. Oh, that's a big deal. And I'm like, damn, we old as hell. But yes, I did love the film. I love that part of it. Did you have any? Oh, one last thing. The cop reminded me of like this cop in Road 96. If you haven't played that game, I definitely recommend it. It's a good game. But I also feel like it's like testing you on what you would do like in real life today, right now. Because they add this like political aspect to it. And you're like living in a time where you're almost like living during the election time. And it was funny when I played that game. I think I played it a month or two after. But the cop in that game was like saving. Okay, so the premise of Road 96 is that you're on this road. You're playing like different people throughout the game. You're not the same person. You don't really know what you look like. You don't you might know your name, your age, but you're on this map in the US. You're in the US, you're on this map and you can see everybody else, you just can't see it. And the cop in that game is helping these people that you're playing. They're actually missing teens. They're calling them missing teens. They're not actually like missing, like kidnapped. They're running away to like Road 96, which leads them to this like freedom place, right? And all these teens are trying to get there, and you gotta find money. There's like this spot you can put money because other people, travelers, might need it. Anyway, the cop in the game is trying to save these teens and get them to the Road 96. And she that reminded me of the cop in Waterboys because she had to play this, role of the cop, blend in with the blue or whatever. And just to save the kids, and so that was an interesting take. I like that they added that in there that okay, we might see the cop, but the cop, don't got such bad of a rap for these other dickheads now. it's poisoned the whole view of what people look at as cops now. And so she's part of that. Still, them OG ones where you're like, no, I still give a fuck about our community. I know these kids, which is important because a lot of times talk about cops going into communities they don't live in and why it's a heightened stress because of that. It goes to show in this film, it showed you like, no, if you want to stop being a scaredy cat and be on defense mode and guard mode so much, if you just, if your job is to be a cop and be protecting the people, I think people got what they use them for, but if you actually care about the people that you live in the communities, maybe it's a different time. They don't have enough time for all that. They gotta do this, do that. But I think this is important for everybody in different walks of life, not just people in the streets, but everybody.
You could even, watch the film with your loved ones, then have a discussion afterwards,
Yeah,
about it,
yeah,
about
definitely.
all the pressures and how the system is set up for you to fail and all these different obstacles that you're going to face in life,
Hmm.
you know?
That's why I like that he had Charles. And it's like, don't give up just that one time, just because that one solution didn't work. Like when that couple came up to them, I was like, okay, they're gonna be good now. They're gonna help fight for him. And then they start realizing, oh, we're not just fighting people in the streets, we fighting people in the courts and the system. We're literally fighting the system itself. So us fighting each other don't even make sense. Like, like you said, like why are we even doing this? You shooting at them now? What? You're on the news now. Go say now they looking for you. You should. You could have killed a stray. That's how a lot of these babies die, especially in Milwaukee. I remember hearing so many times on the news of a baby, passing away because of uh shooting, drive-by shooting. You know what I'm saying? Something just happened out here in Cali where it's like it was people got shot. They weren't even meant to be the target. Like, and so I like how Charles Williams he came in and he was like, "Look, I might can't put no 20 grand in your pocket right now, but I can give you opportunity to develop your skills to get you to where you want to go without having to, you know, stress at this job you hate or risk your life on these streets. Because even though he's doing a good deed, that doesn't matter. Like, trouble does not care. And so I like how, sometimes God will get you, pick you up right, right in the nick of time. And so I feel like Charles Williams was his angel that kind of picked him and got him up in the nick of time, the right perfect time. Um, but yeah, I'm sad that Dolo had to go like that. But it was again this ego trip, like, oh, I got this opportunity to do this. And the fact that that scene where Lil Zoo was like went to the funeral and shook his head like, dang, you did it, you knew what you did.
That was so disrespectful. Oh my
I
goodness.
said, wait, is that him? I thought I was tripping like, but good film. I think Lala did pretty good in this film. I want I feel like she on the edge of like really going ham. You know what I'm saying? Like, but she came a long way from even seeing her back the beginning of Power till now. Keep going. Definitely impactful film for me. So I'm gonna rate it 4 out of 5. What would you rate it?
I would rate
We
it
doing 5 stars over here. I'm not doing two. That's what
I would rate it a 4 or a 3.5.
Hmm.
Hmm. It depends.
Hmm.
But I still think a 3.5 is good. I did like the acting of Drew and Charles, and
Hmm.
even, Lala's
He
character
played in
roles was good.
his. He acted in Raising Canaan. I was like, that's the dude who was selling the paintings.
He's he's acted in a lot of stuff. Like
Hmm.
have you seen Queen Sugar? It used to
No,
come on Oprah's channel.
no.
That was a good show.
Okay. Hmm. I
You
always
should
get
check it
that and
out.
Queen of the South mixed up. I'm like, did I say it? Two different shows. But I'll check that out. Yeah, y'all. Ashley, thanks for joining me on a road to William. Y'all, thanks for listening to us. Feel free to drop some love in the comments. What do you think about this film? Have you seen it? If you have, what do you think? If you haven't, would you see this film? I think you should. Put this on your list for the movie night. Great rest of y'all weekend week. We'll see you soon. Oh yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Go check out Ashley from IB Ball and Basketball Show for your sports news, sports info on documentaries, movies, games, and so much more. Peace.
Peace.